Yeah. Maybe that's why it's called Life is But a Dream. Maybe it's just a dream sequence. Maybe we're all just stuck in a dream.
Dude, you know what? When you were just saying that, it sounded so much more thought-provoking with Stravinsky Sevenfold in the background.
Stravinsky Sevenfold.
Yeah, it sounded so much more brilliant and impressive.
About 2 weeks ago, Avenged Sevenfold released their 8th studio album, Life is But a Dream, and because we were so enthralled with Sleep Token and Ghost and a million other things, we just completely missed it. Joey and I, in our own collective states of mind, sat down and took the whole album in today, and this video that we're going to give to you guys is essentially just our overall thoughts of what we thought of the album, and what we liked, what was different, maybe some things we maybe didn't like, but just our overall thoughts and just giving you guys a total breakdown of Avenged Sevenfold being back on the scene with this 8th studio album. So we're not going to waste any time. We're just going to jump right into it. You guys can hear the music already playing in the background, so you know what time it is.
It's pizza time.
It's time to... it's pizza time. Ravioli,
pepperoni,
anchovy.
Dude,
you guys know what to do. Grab your drinks. Take your seats. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you never miss a video, and we're going to dive right in to Life is But a Dream by Avenged Sevenfold. This is the weirdest Avenged Sevenfold album I've ever heard in my entire life. I will get into that in a little bit, but I sat down and listened to this, and I was going through the track list, and I was like, okay, like, kind of into it. I'm kind of into it, and then it would just rip me some other way. And then I'm like, okay, like, this is strange, and then before I could even finish the this is strange part, boom, right back to the
just
other
goes
side.
in either direction, man.
Of just being like pulled in different directions. And the only word that I can think of, and I think you and I were talking off air, Joe, that the only word that I could really think of that really describes how I feel is it's weird.
It's weird, but I mean creative, and you have to embrace the changes. And it's like no one's really using so many influences together all at once like Avenged is doing. I think the influences of this album are quite high. Between every song, like every song is pulled from another artist, but they have this really brilliant composition to each track. And I guess that's the one word I can sum up this entire album is it's a brilliant album, man. It's very real. It feels very real.
There were some parts literally in this album that I was listening to, and I was listening to M Shadow sing, and I was like, this dude is going into such another voice. And not so much that it was like a head voice or like a low growl, even though there were screams on the album, which was pretty cool to hear. But there was times where I was like, oh my God, this sounds a little bit like Frank Sinatra.
I was just about to say.
This sounds a little bit like Lane Staley in a way. Like there was just so many different influences.
In there too.
Yeah, there were just a lot of different influences in there that I was like, this is all over the place, and I kind of love it. You know what I mean? So you just mentioned the influences are there. You and I talked about it. Alice in Chains, I can definitely hear. I can hear a little bit of Deftones as well. That was another big one for me that I heard. Okay. More towards the back end of the album.
Yeah, the back end of the album is where it really dives into the I guess weirdness is the word we'll use. It's very different compared to what everyone else is doing, but that's when it really delves into. I mean, you get instances of Stravinsky even, like The Rite of Spring.
Yeah.
There's a song called G on there, and I was wondering, well, why is this song called G? And then I delve into the next two songs, and then it was
okay. So you saw it.
I caught the God reference.
Yes,
and I was like, Jesus Christ, man, that's even that. Like,
no pun intended.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, the latter half of the album, that was the most impressive work I've ever heard from this band.
Yeah, so for me, the back part of the album is where it really takes off for me and where I was really into it. Now, in the background right now, you hear Mattel. I heard this song and I was like, holy shit, if the rest of the album is going to be like this is going to be an absolute headbanger, dude. And the next song is Nobody. And then the song after that is We Love You, which we did review individually. We'll link those videos for you down in the description below. So we've already checked those out, so we kind of know which way the album was being pulled. And I can remember us sitting there at the time when we were reacting to We Love You, and we were going, oh my God.
I don't know about this.
There is elements of this song that are so good, but then there are other elements that are like, what are we doing? I want to know how you feel about hearing that song now in the grand scheme of the album.
I think the general consensus from not just me, but a lot of the people who have heard this album, who listen to this album from front to back, in the context of everything else in this album, it just makes more sense. And the first listen is always going to be different than, you know, the 100th listen, or, you know, when you listen to it multiple times, you start to understand. And when you have more songs in the mix of that have kind of the similar theme of life and death and going through limbo and reincarnation and just this other themes that are all clearly on this album, it enhances the listen. Like, I really appreciate both those two singles now. I didn't appreciate them as much on their own, but now after hearing this album a couple times, I just checked it out for the first time today. It really makes a lot more sense. This song, Mattel, it's funny how they call it Mattel, because there's a line in here. They're talking about smelling the plastic daisies.
Yes. Yes.
I got that. I was like,
yes.
Like, wait a sec. Like, oh, okay, Mattel toy. Yeah, I got you. There's a lot of those references in there. But
yeah, it's
very smart.
Lyrically, it's also very creative. I don't know if M Shadows wrote all the lyrics or if it was like a full band participation, which seems to be the way that things are going recently, where everybody's kind of contributing, which is really cool.
Even the Rev wrote the bridge on this particular song too.
I want to get into that because I thought that was the most interesting part of this whole album. Instrumentally, I thought the guitars were fantastic. I thought Sinister Gates really brought it, especially in the riffs. We all know he's a fantastic soloist.
Fantastic guitarist.
He's an unbelievable guitar player. He's an unbelievable soloist. But the riffs themselves were awesome.
Dude, I think he also played piano on the last track too.
Really?
I think he played the piano on that last track, and that blew my mind, dude. You want to mark that up as a classical masterpiece. That is straight up Stravinsky, like I mentioned, dude. That's like straight from the a classical period. That is somewhere in that period of time, and it just fits right in. They're huge fans of classical works,
and you can tell, you can hear it. You know, it's just, it resonates through the entire album. Title track, Life is But a Dream. Guitars were great. The vocals, like as I said, I mentioned M Shadows really pushed his creativity limits here in this album, which was awesome. It was kind of cool to see him especially branch out into different kind of genres and really test the creativity of his vocal range and his style as well. Joey, I'm not a drummer, so I'm going to let you talk about the drums. Brooks Wackerman, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. I hope it's not like Wakerman.
Well, Wackerman.
He played drums for the album, also played drums on the stage. This guy's been in a ton of bands, dude. Infectious
I don't know too much
Grooves,
about him, honestly,
Suicidal Tendencies, Bad Religion. He had a stint with Tenacious D for a while. Like, this guy's been...
He's been around.
He's been around.
I had no idea who this guy was. I know he played on the stage. Like, I know very little about this drummer. But holy crap, man, when I heard... I think it really stood out on Beautiful Morning, just the way the swing of the drums are, like this part here. The way he was utilizing the toms, and he's kind of keeping time with the hi-hat. I don't know, dude. There's such a technicality to it, and it hits so hard, too. Just all the rhythms that he's doing, man. Like, oh, man, there's so much. I haven't fully processed the entire album, but, like, this song is one that stood out to me the most on his drumming. Like, the ending of Cosmic, like that little shuffle that he's... Oh, man, I love this, too.
Yeah. I heard this song, and I was like, yeah, this song is sick. I also heard a little bit of Pearl Jam in this album as well.
I heard Alice in Chains in this album.
A little bit of Eddie Vedder.
Daft Punk. I heard everything. But this was, this was one of my favorites as well. I actually really liked Ordinary.
Okay.
But the drumming, again, top notch, dude. I want to look up everything this guy does now because of how impressed I was with the drumming. I can't really say too much about it other than, like, he's just very skilled, very talented, very seamless. It's so out of the box, too.
I mean, like I said, he's had a stint in a bunch of bands, so I mean, he's been around the block. He knows the game. Kind of reminds me of Dave Grohl, where he's kind of that guy who will drum in like different bands,
guy, and then
Yeah, you know, which is really cool. Now, you're playing G in the background. I kind of want to dive into more a little bit about why they section these 3 songs one after another. Obviously, it spells God. I want to see if there's some sort of lyric correlation there where it's telling some sort of maybe short story within the 3 songs, you know? My mind automatically goes to what's the song lore now, you know? So I'm interested to hear if there's any of that in this. So
they had a female vocalist in the song too.
They did.
And I think there was a couple of them. This song, again, with the influences, reminded me of a Snarky Puppy song. Straight up, Snarky Puppy.
Oh, little jazzy?
No, like jazz fusion.
That's what I mean. Well, yeah, there is a jazz drum beat in the back. Yeah, you can hear it. Well, not in this section. The female vocalist is Brianna Mazzola.
Oh.
Don't know who she is, but that's the name.
Totally threw me for a left turn there. It's like I did not.
And
expect
isn't that kind of the theme of the album?
Yeah.
You think you're gonna go one direction, and then it's just gonna throw you in another direction.
Yeah, exactly. And this is not. I mean, this is the same band that wrote Waking the Fallen. It's crazy to think that too.
So I first got into Avenged Sevenfold probably right around the same time most everybody did. And listen, there's probably some of you that have been day oneers, and we love you guys. But I got in around City of Evil. That was when I started getting into Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah.
I backtracked their catalog from there. But just thinking of, this is the same band that wrote Backcountry. Just the evolution of a band and just stretching your creative minds is on full display on this album. And honestly, I was like you, Joe. I was a little uneasy with the first 2 singles. I wanted it so badly to be that. But then I kind of changed my thinking into being like, well, then I just turn into every other music snob where I want a band to sound exactly like how I remember.
Album.
These guys embraced the difference, and I think they knocked it out of the park, to be honest with you. This album, it's just one of those things where you can just kind of throw it on in the background and let it play through.
This song, again, one of my favorite songs of the album. It's so different. And actually, when I was listening to the song, I kind of picked up on something too. It's from the perspective of like AI or a robot that wants to be human, wants to be ordinary.
Isn't there a lot of that going around now?
A lot of the AI stuff, yeah. So
seems to be a theme. This is just a fun album. They wrote a creatively weird, awesome album.
I think for me personally, again, listening to it only two times. I listened to it first time today. I'm gonna really dive into this a lot further because I really can't grasp the full gravity of everything that's in this album because there's so much. I feel like every listen there's gonna be something different that I pick up on, and just skimming through, some of the lyrics, I'm getting so much out of it. And you're vibing out to.
Oh, I totally am, dude. It's awesome.
Sevenfold.
It's almost like it sounds almost like Daft Punk. Definitely. I also hear a little bit of ska too. Like that's a ska guitar riff, dude. Like
I don't know if this is true, and if someone can let us know in the comments here, is it true that Sinister Gates played the synth solos on his guitar?
Oh.
I
taking a page out of Tom Morello's book.
Yeah, I read something about Sinister Gates possibly doing the solos just based on his guitar. They have like a whole setup, and he recorded it that way.
Let us know down below. That I'm actually curious to hear that too. I really want to know if that's true, because if it is, he was already here. That probably puts him here.
Yeah, and also let us know if Sinister Gates also played on the piano at the end, because I think that was 100% him.
I think he did. I think he did. So I'm gonna side on the side of yes for that one. But if you guys know for sure, let us know.
And there's so much to this album, man. I almost forgot about the Frank Sinatra song. Dude, this is a metal band, dude.
Not anymore.
But I really love this, man. And you know what really captivated me the most is how it kind of the song Death kind of starts as like a dream-like element, and then by the end it just becomes unnerving. Like, it's just unsettling almost with the synths. Like, it starts like this, then it gets to the end, and it turns into like this.
You know what's funny? Don't you hear a little bit of We Love You at the beginning of that song? Think of how We Love You ended, and then kind of going into Death. They kind of remind me of each other, that maybe...
This is the unnervingness, by the way.
Yeah, this is scary.
It reminds me of have you seen the horror movie Pearl? Like they have like all these like very classical. Not classical, but it sounds almost like it's got that vibe. You just have to watch the movie.
I'll tell you what it does remind me of, though. It reminds me a little bit of Hannibal, the TV show. They had a very eccentric synth kind of soundtrack to the show, and now that you said that, it reminds me of that horror movie. It kind of reminds me of that.
Dude,
obviously, Life is But a Dream, a nice classical piece.
Life is but a dream, but honestly, man, it feels like just a nightmare, like a never-ending nightmare in a strange way. Imagine this in like a different context. Like you're kind of just, if you're just dead, like you die,
right,
and you just kind of go through these like weird, it just almost feels like an endless loop. And
right.
it's so I kind of got that from a lot of this album. It feels like you're dead, like the perspective of you are dead, and this is all what happens after.
Yeah. Maybe that's why it's called Life is But a Dream. Maybe it's just a dream sequence. Maybe we're all just stuck in a dream.
Dude, you know what? When you were just saying that, it sounded so much more thought-provoking with Stravinsky Sevenfold in the background.
Stravinsky Sevenfold.
Yeah, it sounded so much more brilliant and impressive.
Oh, that's great. That is awesome. Well, listen, man. This album's great.
I love this album. It's a
ton of fun.
Yeah.
I got to listen to it again. Again, it pulled me in so many different directions.
I want to process this so badly, man.
Rough score out of 10.
Man, oh man, this is up there. This is up there for album of the year for me.
Wow.
I thought it couldn't get any. I thought Sleep Token wasn't gonna have any.
Couldn't get any more creative.
I thought Sleep Token wasn't gonna have any competition, but I think they might. I think they might with this album.
Before you give a score, I immediately thought of Sleep Token when I heard this song.
Fall for me.
I was like, you gotta be kidding me, dude. You gotta be kidding me. More like electronic vocals. I'm sorry, I just had to say that real quick.
Yeah, it's okay. I was thinking that too, honestly. I was thinking more of like Imogen Heap. Imogen Heap,
yeah.
I think that's how you pronounce it. And Sleep
Yeah.
Token. My score, I would probably give it like somewhere in the 9s, dude. Like a 9 point, like
wow.
9.4. I'm thinking 9.4.
Wow.
This is very impressive, dude. And I'm thinking about that like in the future context. Like right now. All right, so let me clarify. I think right now it's a 9.4. However, I have to really process this album too. But from what I heard, I'm thinking about what I know has happened in the past with these very avant-garde type albums.
Yeah.
Like very like, Mike Patton type influenced albums.
Right.
I'm usually weirded out by them at first, and then I listen to them, and I get really into them. So I'm thinking with that in mind, 9.4.
Joey, 9.4. I think you put it perfectly when we were talking pre-show. Embrace the weird, my friends.
Embrace the weirdness.
So for
it's
me,
great,
I am
friends.
totally embracing the weird. I'm going to be a little lower, not in a disrespectful way at all. I'm going to go with an 8.4 out of 10.
That's still pretty high, actually.
And if you guys have watched back at our other album reviews, I am ranking this higher than Metallica's album. Strictly on creativity. I know what I'm getting with Metallica. I thought I knew what I was getting with Avenged Sevenfold, and I didn't, and that just makes it even better.
Do you think Avenged Sevenfold is going to lead a trend of like weirdness going forward? Like every band's going to want to try to like think outside the box and be creative like this?
I'll tell you what. I hope so, because it might be the single thing that saves metal and rock and roll.
Just music in general. Like you don't get this. You don't get this anymore.
If there's anything that you guys can take from this album, be different and don't be afraid to be creative.
You don't see anybody writing Beach Boy music anymore.
The best bands in the world are the most creative bands in the world.
Yeah.
Avenged Sevenfold, they're back on top because of that reason.
It's like they're the band that you're going, well, what is this? This is weird as fuck.
Right. But it's also like
intriguing.
I love it.
Yeah. It's like, why do I love this so much?
Yeah.
I want more of this.
Dude.
I want more of this, like the song Nobody. They want more. And
right, exactly.
Like more money, more power.
Oh, you're talking about We Love You.
Oh, We Love You. Sorry, I was thinking of Nobody. Well, We Love You.
I know what you're thinking.
I mixed the two singles up, but they're talking about like more.
Guys, 8.4 for me. A solid 9.4 for
9.4,
Joey
dude.
Drums.
And that's taking into consideration.
Those are our thoughts. What are yours? Be sure to leave your comments down below. Let us know what you guys thought of this brand new album from Avenged Sevenfold. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Was it weird enough for you?
Do you miss
If
the
you guys
old
want-
Avenged Sevenfold? I hope not, because, well, I mean, you could miss the old Avenged Sevenfold.
You
but,
could. It's
you know,
okay.
they're progressing. It's good to progress and not do the same thing over and over again.
Also, if you guys want to drop your scores down below, we'd be curious to hear what you guys have to say
If you guys
about
got scores, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure you guys go check these guys out on tour. Obviously, they're coming probably to a city near you. I don't think it's a show that we're going to be making it to, but if you guys are going and planning on going, let us know. Let us know what you guys thought of them live. Other than that, you guys have been great. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss a video. If you guys haven't checked out the merch store, it's all down below in the description. And we will see you guys in the next video. Later!